The next concept is significance of principles of management. So the principles of management, they derive the significance from their utility. They provide useful insights to managerial behavior and influence managerial practices. So manager, through this principles of management, you get a real world situation, or you get an idea regarding the reality of what happens in the business organization. So the manager, what he can do is he can apply these principles to fulfill their task and responsibilities. Principles guide manager in taking and implementing decision relating to the business organization. So next we can discuss about the significance or points which come under the significance of principles of management. The first one is providing managers with useful insights into reality. Providing managers with useful insights into reality. The principles of management provide the managers with useful insights into real world situations. So they just relate the principles into real world situation. So the principles are prepared on the basis of what are the things that may happen in the business organization, which is totally real. Okay, so adherence to these principles will add to knowledge. So when a manager comes to know about the reality or the real world situation, it helps to increase the knowledge, ability and understanding of managerial situation and circumstances. So this also enables manager to learn from past mistakes. So when he comes to know about the mistake which he has done, obviously what he has to do is like he has to correct. So by correcting that, what he can do is like he can see that those mistakes which is already done by him is not getting repeated again. So he can reduce those past mistakes and conserve time by solving recurring problems quickly. So when the problems are minimized, then it becomes easy to increase the managerial efficiency. For example, you can say that when a manager understands the real world situation or takes up a proper decision, then it is easy for him to skip, or he can just put up his particular duty, or he can leave the routine decision making to his subordinates and deal with exceptional situation which require his expertise by following the principles which are available in the management. So ಅವನು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಅವನ ಕೆಲಸ ಏನಿದೆ ಆ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನ ಅವನು ಆ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಕೆಲಸಗಳೇನಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಕಷ್ಟ ಇಲ್ದಿರೋ ಕೆಲಸಗಳು ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಅವನು ಅವನ ಸಬಾರ್ಡಿನೇಟ್ಗೆ ಅಥವಾ ಅವನ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಯಾರು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟು, ಅವನು ಏನು ಎಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಷನಲ್ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಏನು ಕಷ್ಟಕರವಾದ ಕೆಲಸ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಓಕೆ, ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಪ್ಟಿಮಮ್ ಯುಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ administration. So the resource available, both human resource and also material resource are limited. So when the resources are limited, it is very important that we have to see that those resources which are limited have to be used to the fullest extent. So when the resources are used to the fullest extent, then we can produce more. One thing is like you can make good advantage of the things available rather than wasting. So when we waste the resource, obviously as it is limited, you will end up in facing difficulty in getting the products or in getting the raw materials which is required by you. Okay, so the goods or the resource which will have to be put to optimum use. So by optimum use, we mean that the resources should be put to use in such a manner that they should give maximum benefit with minimum cost. Okay, so this principles equipment the manager to foresee the cause and effect relationship. I've already told you about cause and effect relationship. The principle, it will equip the manager to foresee the cause and effect relationship of their decisions and actions. So as such, the wastage associated with trial and error approach can be overcome. The wastage associated with trial and error approach can be overcome. So ಏನು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಟ್ರಯಲ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಎರರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. And one more thing which comes here is like effective administration. So this effective administration necessitates impersonalization of managerial conduct so that managerial power is used with due discretion. So when managerial power is used with due discretion, then what happens? The boundaries, or it limits the principles of management, limits the boundaries of managerial discretion so that their decisions may be free from personal prejudices and biases. The decisions which are taken in the organization is free from personal prejudices and biases. The next one is scientific decision. Scientific decision. So the decisions which are taken must be based on facts, thoughtful and justifiable in terms of intended purpose. The decisions which are taken in the organization should be based on fact, thoughtful and justifiable in terms of intended purpose. So not only this, but also they all have to be timely. They must be timely, realistic and subject to measurement of evaluation. They should be subject to measurement of evaluation. So the management principles help in thoughtful decision making. They emphasize logic rather than blind faith. So it has to be a scientific decision. You can't put any principles blindly. ಯಾವುದೇ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಬ್ಲೈಂಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಜಸ್ಟಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ದ ಇಂಟೆಂಡೆಡ್ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ದೇರ್. It will be timely, it will be realistic, and it should be, or it will be subject to measurement and evaluation. So the decisions can't be done as and how it is required. Okay, so the decision making has to be done properly. There has to be logic and not blind faith. The management decisions taken on the basis of principles are free from bias. So when you take your own decision, when you take up your own decision, ನೀವು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸ್ವಂತ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ಸ್ ತರುವಾಗ ಅಥವಾ ತೆಗೆಯುವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಯಾಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸಗಳಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ when you come to principles of management, it's like it is free from bias and prejudices. So they are based on objective assessment of the situation. They are based on objective assessment of the situation. They are scientific decision. It is not a rule of thumb or anything. It is scientifically decided. The next one is meeting changing environment requirements. Meeting changing environment requirements. So the principles are in a nature of general guidelines. In the previous classes, I told you that they are mere guidelines. They are just guidelines. They are just guidelines and they are not ready-made solution for the problem available in the business. ಯಾವುದೇ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೆ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಆ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಅದು ರೆಡಿಮೇಡ್ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲ. ದೇ ಆರ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಅ ಗೈಡ್ಲೈನ್. ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಗೈಡ್ಲೈನ್ ಆಗಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಹೊರತು ಯಾವುದೇ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೆ you can't use that as a ready-made solution. So the principles are in the nature of general guidelines, but they are modified and as such help manager to meet changing requirements of the environment. Help the managers to meet changing requirements of the environment. So it's like the organization is dynamic in nature. The organization is dynamic in nature. So when the organization is dynamic in nature, or the environment is dynamic in nature. Not just the business organization, but also the environment is also dynamic in nature. Okay, so what happens is like the manager, he should be in a position, should adopt that dynamic situation which arise in the business environment. So the management principles are totally flexible. Management principles are totally flexible. So as it is totally flexible, it can be used or it can be altered according to the requirement. So you will have to be make it flexible to adopt to dynamic business environment. Clear? The next one is fulfilling social responsibility. Fulfilling social responsibility. So we have spoken, or we have learned about the social responsibility in the previous classes, that is in the first year. So I told you the social responsibility. What is social responsibility? It is an obligation of a business concern towards the society, the obligation. So when coming to your principles of management, the increased awareness of the public forces business, especially limited companies, to fulfill their social responsibility. So the increased awareness, so people are aware about the rights and duties which are available to them. When it comes to a consumer, the consumer now knows all the rights which he has or the duties which he has to do. The same way, each and every public is having a proper awareness regarding the social responsibility. The awareness has increased. So this forces business, especially the limited companies, to fulfill their social responsibility. So management theory and management principles have also evolved in response to these demands. Management theory as well as management principles have evolved in response to these demands. So if one way to talk of equity today, is not just apply to wage alone. Yes, it does not just apply to wage alone. So the organization will have to carry out social responsibility. So when he carries out social responsibility, it's like he will have to concentrate the value to the customer, the care for the environment, dealing with business associates. All this will come under the purview of this principle. The next one is management training, education and research. So principles of management are at a core of management theory. So these are used as a basis for management training. Nowadays, the principles of management are used as the basis for management training, education and research. So you might have heard, or you might have might be aware about the entrance for management institutes. Okay, so before you enter a college for your post graduation, so there is a aptitude test which is done in order to know the quality of that particular student who is going to get admitted into that college. Usually when you take up a BBA or MBA, so all these are related to the principles of management. Why? Because see, when you select an employee to the organization, you just do not select randomly. You need a best person, a right person for a right job. So what you do is like you carry on with different tests in order to check how qualitative A is, how efficient A is, can he provide a good result to the business organization, can he increase the output of the business organization. So the tests are done with the concept of this management principles. Okay, so do you think that these tests could have been developed without understanding the management principles? and how they can may be applied in different situations. No. Okay, so these tests are done by keeping the management principles in mind. So these principles provide basic groundwork for development of management as discipline. So professional courses such as MBA maybe or BBA. So after your PUC you take a BBA, Bachelor of Business Administration. So once you finish up with your bachelor's you go for master degree. So when you go for master degree, many might opt MBA. Yes, when you go for MBA, that is Masters of Business Administration, so all these disciplines are taken into consideration. So the professional courses such as MBA, BBA also teach these principles as part of their curriculum at a beginner's level. Or these organizations, these courses, professional courses, they teach these principles as part of their curriculum at a beginner's level. The reason behind teaching this to the student is that student should have knowledge regarding each and everything which happens in the business organization. So I told you, aptitude test, you can't just randomly pick one person and put him into the job available in the business organization. You need a right person for the right job available in the business organization. So you have to be having a clear idea regarding whom to select, who is potential enough in order to give a good result to the business organization. So to conclude, it can be said that the understanding the meaning, nature, and significance of principles of management will help us to appreciate their applicability in a real life situation.